Hello and welcome to Odds on La Liga Matchday 15. Barcelona dropping points. This is getting much more interesting right now. And we are back in our La Liga show with Alvaro Romeo, another ACCA for you in La Liga. Alvaro, hello, how are you?
Hello, Edu. Very well, thank you. La Liga is getting tighter. If Real Madrid wins the game they have in hand, they will be very close to Barcelona. Thank you for the applause. I take it. Also, kudos to Ronan for getting his Champions League ACCA last night, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And, that's it. And by the way, the Basque Derby was won by Athletic Bilbao. I just want to leave that comment there. For the record.
Exactly. Congratulations to Athletic and to Alvaro, 2 points away now from the top 4. Athletic. So, guys, comment with us this La Liga, getting more interesting with Barcelona, dropping points. And, of course, if you want, just press the like, subscribe, of course. And now let's go on with the show. Guardiola? I think I saw Guardiola in trouble after the game against Feyenoord. Poor Pep. He was angry, of course, after letting the game slip out from the fingers and also ruin Alvaro's ACCA. Well, let's try to bring some more greens. Alvaro, first game, Mallorca, Valencia. Great game we saw in Mestalla, very emotional after 2 postponed games. Valencia was down to the pitch after the flooding, and they beat Betis in a good fashion 4-2. 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 scored a brace, still in relegation, but now with some air in the lungs. And Mallorca also beat Unión Deportiva Las Palmas 3-2 with a really weird goal. Alvaro, it's difficult to explain, actually, the goal scored by Mallorca to win the game.
Well, to start with, let me tell you that I was really positively surprised about the fact that Mallorca had something in mind about how to take an indirect free kick inside the box, because this is something that we barely see in football these days. I think that in the 90s and in the 80s, it was more common to see indirect free kicks in the box, and Mallorca had a drill for that. I don't know if they train it, or I don't know if the players improvise very well, but they won the game thanks to that. For a really weird action in which 𝗵𝗵𝗔𝗍 showed his finger to one of the Las Palmas footballers, and that ended up being, after a little bit of a boost up between 2 players of Las Palmas and Mallorca, an indirect free kick for Mallorca. And Mallorca scored it, and they won. For this game, 𝗵𝗵𝗔𝗍 is not ready, by the way. He's not available because he was suspended, because in the VAR video footage, you could see 𝗵𝗵𝗔𝗍 showing his middle finger to a player from Las Palmas. That meant that he got a red card. Anyway, a little bit of a mess, but Mallorca got their win. They have 1 win in 4 games, but they won the last one. They have collected 6 wins in the league, 6, but only 2 at home. And there is no 𝗵𝗵𝗔𝗍 on the pitch. Whereas Valencia, look, they beat Betis very comfortably, scoring 4 goals. They hadn't scored 4 goals since January against Cádiz, but Valencia has scored 2 goals away. This game for me is a little bit of a tricky one, because without 𝗵𝗵𝗔𝗍, Mallorca is a lesser side, and I don't know if 𝗲𝗏𝗏 is going to be ready for the game. 𝗵𝗲𝗏𝗀 either. Those are strikers that don't have the quality of 𝗵𝗵𝗔𝗍, who is not available. And on the other hand, Valencia is a little bit in the rise, maybe, with the win against Betis. Then in the cup in midweek they won because they had to, but they did it, so I just checked the odds to see if the odds were kind of inviting or pointing me at certain direction, and the truth is that over 2 goals in this game, 208 is a good number, but these sides are not high scoring anyway. Over 1.5 goals, 161 could be an interesting one, not a safe bet in any sort of way, but at least there is some money to be made there. Otherwise, for me, this game is a pass. Fridays sometimes are a little bit tricky, and this Friday can be tricky.
Friday is the day to go to a bar and be careful with the bets. Mallorca, big favorite, and Valencia, really the underdog, 4.6. If you think this could be a surprise, the price is really high. Next game on Saturday, Barcelona, Unión Deportiva Las Palmas. Barcelona back in the winning track in the Champions League, easily, comfortably beat Brest with Lewandowski scoring a brace, but in La Liga, Álvaro, we saw them disconnected in the game in Balaidos against Celta. Also was very poor against Real Sociedad. At home, they look very strong this season, and it should be an easy game against these Las Palmas that, as you said, they lost to Mallorca, but also we saw a good reaction after being 2-0 down, and they are much more competitive now with Diego Martínez.
They are, and despite having lost the last game, their point tally is not bad. They got 9 points out of the last 18, even though they lost to Mallorca at home. They also have the best under 23 footballer of November in La Liga, which is something that sounds a little bit like there must not be so many candidates to be, in that to win that award. But still, it's a Las Palmas footballer like Fabio Silva, who scored 2 goals in the month, and obviously he's been revitalized since the arrival of Diego Martínez, who is a very good coach. Of Las Palmas, or about Las Palmas, I want to say something. They still have to improve defensively. I think that one of the goals Mallorca scored, 𝗲𝗵𝐿, I believe, the other day, was a little bit unacceptable. The way Las Palmas defended the second post was not acceptable. I mean, there was a player totally on his own from Mallorca just to score a very simple goal, almost a tap-in. So Las Palmas has to improve defensively, and they really have to, because they are playing against Barcelona. Barcelona is scoring goals for fun. They scored 3 against Brest. I think that they were misfiring a little bit. Were they perfect against Brest? No. I think that the team was good, not perfect. I have seen Barcelona playing better throughout the season. But they needed the win and they got it. And this time Barcelona is the favorite. The bookmakers know it. The odds are very low. It's very difficult to find odds that are inviting for me, really, in this game. In fact, this time Barcelona is not going to be in Mallorca, despite them playing at home. But there is an odd that I like, because Barcelona tends to do it. They did it against Brest, for example. Barcelona to win at 30 minutes, Edu, 183. They can score quickly. They won't be too tired because they play in the Champions League on Tuesday. Then if you go to the individuals markets, don't go for Lewandowski to score because he pays only 150. I can understand why, because he has scored 15 goals in La Liga. He's the top scorer of the competition. Rafinha to score or Dani Olmo to score would make more sense, especially Dani Olmo to score 305. The value is quite good. Hopefully he will play. Hopefully he will start. He scored against Brest. Dani Olmo is a decent scorer, good scorer, I would say. Him to score 305 is good. And just very quickly on Barcelona, I have to say something. They have played only 5 games at home and 9 away. Also, this has to be taken into consideration when we make predictions about La Liga. Barcelona has barely played at home for different reasons. So they've got plenty of games at home coming up. And I think that if they are solid at home, and so far they have been because they got all the points, maybe we're talking about a Barcelona who will have a very good run very soon again.
Barcelona to score in both halves for BAM. Yamal to return, Álvaro, is unknown, right?
It's possible. Hansi Flick was talking to him yesterday after the game against Brest. And apparently it looked like there was a possibility that Lamine Yamal came back. He for sure will be in top form, because we know that young footballers, when they pick an injury, then it's easier for them to return than it is for veteran footballers, right? But, he could be only available for the second half. I think Barcelona has been doing okay with Olmo, Rafinha, and Lewandowski up front. So there is no need to risk Lamine Yamal. And by the way, very important game for Pedri, Edu. The first time he plays for Las Palmas, let's don't forget that he comes from Las Palmas Academy.
Well, Barcelona have 2 La Liga games next week, so perhaps it's good also to save some energy from Lamine Yamal. And on Saturday, Alaves Leganes, look at the odds, so low for Alaves, only 1.8 for a team that are not in good form, 7 defeats and 1 win only in the last 8 games, although they were very competitive against Atletico de Madrid. Leganes didn't raise a glove against Real Madrid, and no wins away from Butarque, Álvaro. Only 4 draws. I guess this should be a low-scoring game.
It should be a low-scoring game, yeah. I think the bookmakers could predict that. If you check the odds, you will see that. But in my case, maybe I go for Alaves to win. I know 183. We're talking Alaves here. Alaves is going to finish the season most likely in the bottom half of the table, yes. But we have seen in 2024, always with the same manager, by the way, that Alaves at home against teams of their level, they have a tendency to get the job done. So that's why I'm going to go for Alaves to win. It pays 183. Also because Leganes this season, they've got 14 points, yes, but they are conceding quite a lot of goals, 19 conceded. And as you said, away from home, Leganes is suffering, whereas Alaves, they are slightly better than Getafe. I mean, Alaves at home is better than Leganes away, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm going to back Alaves in an important game for them because, if they win, they will leave Leganes 2 points behind. And I think that is where Alaves really belongs, over Leganes.
Well, both should be the whole season fighting against relegation also because especially Valencia should improve. Still really, really low odds to back Alaves here, only 1.8. The next one is also important for the relegation, Espanyol Celta, because Espanyol are really in trouble, 10 points in relegation spots and looking really bad. Lately, thrashed by Girona, beat by Barcelona. Before that is 4 consecutive defeats for the team from Barcelona. And Celta could be dangerous. It's true that away from home they are not that good. It's only 1 win, but they can score plenty of goals. And with this shaky Espanyol, Álvaro, Celta could be dangerous and get some points.
Yeah, I am gonna look Celta to win, just for our people to know the odds. Will pay 225, and I think that the money is good. I'm gonna go for the same value, but with another bet. And I think Celta can score over 1.5 goals in this game, and that pays 225 as well. I'm gonna go for that. That will be my preferred bet. Over 2.25 goals in the game, 177. Yeah, it's something that looks safer, but I could be happy to up my or to increase my risk. And Celta can score many goals. They scored the 2 against Barcelona the other day after a crazy almost comeback because they couldn't actually beat Barcelona, but they were losing 2-0 in the second half. And Celta is a team that has good scorers. They press up front really well, and then they can reach the goal or success via different footballers and different ways. Because the first goal that they scored against Barcelona was just capitalizing a mistake from 𝗀𝐿𝐿 after a good pressure. But the second goal they scored against Barcelona, they tried to score or they tried to create a chance on the left. They saw or they understood that it wasn't possible, and very quickly they moved the ball to the right and they scored there. So they got this high pressure. Sometimes I would say that a stressful pressure they apply on opponents, but then when they get the ball, they don't take unnecessary risks or they don't shoot from any angle just for the sake of it. They just build up properly. So I think that Celta can score 2 goals against Espanyol, especially because number one, as you say, Edu, Espanyol is in the worst run in La Liga. They have suffered 4 defeats in a row. But also, they keep on losing players. Graguera and Català is a centre-back, are going to be out probably for most of the season. I mean, 2 new injuries for Espanyol, for players that tend to feature in games. So, with the squad so depleted and with the Celta who is oozing, Celta is, by the way, the team to watch this season in La Liga. They are so entertaining. I'm more than happy to back Celta scoring over 2 goals in this game.
They score also 2 against Betis. El Panda to score here. Colin is telling us Theo is going for Espanyol. Draw, no bet. this would be a surprise also, as we can see in the odds, because Espanyol, they are doing really bad lately. Another team that looks Segunda División mid is Valladolid, bottom of the table, 9 points, 2 wins only. They lost to Getafe. Before that, they were able to draw against Athletic, and they were this close also to win that game. They are the worst team at home in La Liga with only 6 points, and they are hosting Atletico de Madrid in the best moment of the season. Julián Álvarez scoring finally and looking good, and the best news after the game against Sparta Prague, Alvaro, is that they kept going. They scored, they kept going, something that we are not used to see with this Atletico de Madrid this season. They were winning because they've won now 6 consecutive games, but always low margin, always scoring at the end.
Yes, absolutely. But Atletico is going through a decent moment right now. Not great, because, to go through a great moment, you really have to prove this run or to keep this run for longer. But, what they did in Prague was impressive. It was their best ever win away in the Champions League. It was their best game of the season. And Julián scored the free kick. And this is important because a team of Simeone, or under Simeone, sorry, I'm going to say this well, under Simeone, Atletico had never scored a free kick. And that goes back to late 2011. I mean, it's been 13 years without scoring a free kick for Atletico de Madrid. I heard that stat yesterday. I was like, what? Is this ever possible? But it is. And I think that Julián Álvarez knows how to take a free kick. Is not surprised that he did score it, because for Manchester City he took a few free kicks as well, and I remember him scoring, especially when Kevin De Bruyne was not in the team and Julián Álvarez was taking the free kick responsibilities. And this is a great addition for Atletico, the possibility of scoring from set pieces as well. So I think that we have to welcome that. Then Giuliano Simeone is a player who, little by little, the son of El Cholo, he's making it to the lineup. He's playing a lot. His enthusiasm is contagious, and his pressure up front is really good as anybody else's. So he's a player that probably this season he will have his chances more and more. And the question for me is, will Atletico de Madrid attack like they did in Prague? Probably not, but still they have enough to beat Valladolid. Valladolid is very poor this season. They have conceded 27 goals. They have the worst defensive numbers in the league. Even Getafe the other day, Edu. Getafe is a club that is begging for a number 9. They will go to the market and try to buy a number 9 because they don't have any right now. If 𝗵𝗏𝗏 is out in the sidelines, Getafe scored 2 against them. And at home, they have been terrible. Valladolid has recorded only 6 points. So I'm going to back for a nice handicap -1 for Atletico, 210. You could down it to an Asian handicap -0.75 for Atletico, 178, but I prefer the Asian handicap -1 for them. Otherwise, you really have to consider the clean sheet for Atletico de Madrid, because Atletico de Madrid has been getting clean sheets lately. They got one against Mallorca, they got one against Sparta Prague, they got another one against Las Palmas, so they know how to do it. They've been doing it repeatedly this season. But my favorite bet here will be Asian handicap -1 for Atletico. In terms of risk-reward, I think that this is the best.
Atletico to win 2-0 for 𝐜𝐭. This was our classic, but now they've conceded more goals. And Colin is telling us, of course, the performance from Diego Simeone's men, very poor, Sparta Prague. But as we also mentioned in our Champions League video, they should win comfortably. By the way, we have another video of the Champions League on Wednesday, so now go and check it out if you haven't yet, with the games we have tonight. For instance, Girona playing on Wednesday in the Champions League, games on Sunday. This is a great game, Villarreal Girona. Now we check the schedule, the standings, of La Liga, and we see Girona very close to the Champions League spots, only 4 points away from Villarreal. Some weeks ago, we were talking about Girona being careful with the relegation, but now, Alvaro, the players are recovering. They have not so many injury players, and the team is answering with wins, 3 consecutive in La Liga. Perhaps Villarreal is too much because they are doing great, 2 wins and 2 draws, and also great news in Gerard Moreno. I know a player that you rate a lot, scoring again in La Liga.
Look, Gerard Moreno has been very unlucky over the last years. Plenty of injuries, and I think that in an ideal world, he would have been part of the European Championship winning squad. But, he picked an injury and then he wasn't ready for Spain last summer. He suffered a lot, but it was important for him to score the other day. I'm very happy for him. I think Villarreal has a lot of depth in the squad, a lot of it, and many different profiles. They can play nice, they can play with the speed. This weekend, probably, they will opt for speed and transitions because Parejo is not available for the game, Edu, and you know that Parejo is a footballer who likes it slow, obviously, because he's old now, but he was always like this anyway. So Pape Gueye is very likely to play in midfield, and that with 𝗀𝐿𝐴 and Alex Baena means that Villarreal are going to be about the speed this weekend, about taking risks and all that. They haven't played in midweek, by the way, because they are not involved in European football, and that is why I have regarded them as the main favorites to qualify for the Champions League in the 4th spot this season, because they are not playing in Europe. But they are playing Girona, and, let's wait, because we don't know if Girona are going to do the job or not in the Champions League on Wednesday. But irrespective of that, I think that this game is going to be about goals. So over 2.5 goals, 173. I love it. Villarreal and Girona are more likely to be involved in games that are over than under. So over 2.5 goals in this game, 173. As I said before, I love it. And if you look at the numbers, I mean, both sides are scoring a decent amount of goals. So why not to think that this can happen? Villarreal has scored 25. Girona has scored 20. Yeah, this is an over.
Also, Theo is telling us that Girona lacks depth in the squad, indeed, and they are going to put a lot of effort in their Champions League game. It's a winnable one, so they are going to think that they can beat 𝗀𝗏𝗏. Let's see if Villarreal wins. Odds are 1.9, probably in a high-scoring game. Then at the Bernabeu, we have Real Madrid, Getafe. No Vinicius, very important. He's going to miss the next month or so of competition. And after playing in Anfield, let's see what happens. But Real Madrid's schedule are tough. Anfield, then next game is in Bilbao. And then they have also Girona and Atalanta, all games away. So this should be the easier one. Real Madrid improved in the last 2 games in La Liga against Leganes and Osasuna, win 2-0. And Getafe is a team that cannot score, Alvaro. So perhaps with Real Madrid is a bit risky, but the win 2-0 could be an option.
Unless they play against Valladolid, obviously. Yeah, but yeah, they don't score many goals because as I said before, and we have spoken about this, Bordalás has been begging for signings and also for another number 9 in the team. But look at the numbers. Leganes has scored 10. You are totally right, in 14 games. This is not enough. Sorry, did I say Leganes? I mean Getafe. Getafe has scored 10 in La Liga so far. The last time Getafe won at Santiago Bernabéu was, by the way, in 2008, when Getafe reached the UEFA Cup quarterfinals with Schuster. Probably you remember that moment when, was it Schuster or Michael Laudrup? I'm not too sure now. Michael Laudrup was the manager. Michael Laudrup, sorry, when they lost to Bayern. So yeah, Getafe...
Luca Toni
hasn't been
that
too...
Bayern. Pato Abondanzieri doing crazy stuff as Getafe goalkeeper.
Well, I think that he will be remembered as a legend of Getafe in a way, El Pato Abondanzieri. But, Getafe has been good during these 15 years. Some years they've been relegated, some other years they've been punching above their weight. So, they've been through thin and thick in Spanish top flight in 15 years, and yet they haven't won, they haven't recorded a win at Santiago Bernabéu, which is normal to a certain extent. But it also tells you that this Real Madrid should be favorite because history backs them and because they've got better footballers and because Real Madrid is chasing is chasing Barcelona right now. Just to finish off with Getafe very quickly, they got 2 wins in La Liga, not enough, but they are the master of draws. So I would like to spare a compliment for a team that navigated a crisis drawing games. I mean, at the end of the day, if you navigate a crisis drawing and not losing, you are competitive, you are good, you are solid, you are robust. Getafe can be that, but they don't have enough to win at Santiago Bernabéu. Look, whatever happens in Anfield is going to be good for Real Madrid, I think. If they beat Liverpool, it's going to be a massive booster for their confidence. And if they lose against Liverpool coming into this game, that will oblige Real Madrid to beat Getafe. Real Madrid cannot lose 2 games in a row. So whatever happens against Liverpool, I think that is going to be good for Real Madrid coming into this game. Real Madrid, a team that has 18 points at home, by the way. They have only lost to Barcelona at Santiago Bernabéu. And I know that Vinicius is injured, so this is the time for Kylian Mbappé. Mbappé will have his position on the pitch free for him. Vinicius not being on the pitch has to spur on his hunger and has to put some pressure on Kylian Mbappé. So I'm going to back Mbappé to score 2.0, and my other bet is going to be the following. Real Madrid to win the second half, 173. I really think that they can make it this time.
Well, we have here Alvaro's best bet. We will see at the end of the video Real Madrid to win the second half or over 1.5 goals in the second half. Guarantee brace or more from Mbappé. It's Mbappe's time for sure. And Valverde surprisingly good as a right back. Probably in this game we are going to see Lucas Vázquez because he's back with the squad in Anfield, but probably Valverde is going to play in Liverpool, and therefore Lucas Vázquez should be available here. I want to see also Endrick or Arda Güler, some other players in Real Madrid. Probably this game is perfect for them. By the way, that Ancelotti and Bordalás are really good friends. They really like each other. They have a great relationship. So maybe they have a paella before the game and then they can both do their job.
Edu.
Un cocido. They are in Madrid, of course. And enjoy the game. Well, also in Madrid, Rayo Vallecano Athletic. Rayo 5 points away from relegation, lost to Sevilla and Unión Deportiva Las Palmas. They need a reaction. And the odds are very tricky. The bookies expect a draw here because Athletic, they won the derby 1-0. Great win for them. Only, as I said before, 2 points away from Villarreal, but they are playing in Europa League on Thursday, and away, Alvaro, they are less reliable. So it's not an easy game, this one.
No, it's not an easy game. Look, I think that the odds are over, over 2.75, no matter what you choose. Athletic Bilbao to win 280, Rayo to win 292. A draw 320. So if you really have strong thoughts about something or a strong belief about somebody, a club just winning this game, of course, you have to go for it. In my case, look, I just take into consideration a couple of things. That Athletic Bilbao away from home this season has been okay, but even last time against Valladolid, they rescued the point, and the truth is that they were a little bit flat away from home, and also they are playing on Thursday. And Rayo Vallecano against Athletic Bilbao playing at home, I wouldn't consider them favorites because Rayo, plain and simple, I mean, they are right now 13th in the standings with 16 points. Athletic Bilbao are neighboring Champions League positions. Will Rayo win? Well, Rayo has won this season 4 games and Athletic has lost only 3. So maybe the odds are pointing me in the direction of the draw. And a first half draw is something that I would kind of back. 205. Not that I'm going to keep this for the ACCA or anything like that. I think that there are better bets elsewhere this week. But the first half draw with Athletic just coming from Europe after playing on Thursday against 𝐬𝐴𝐵𝐴, that can be an interesting one. Only a couple of questions from my side. Number one, will Unai Simón return in the first lineup? that's a possibility because he's ready to play and he was on the bench against Real Sociedad. And number 2, is there any more unspoken hero than Ollán Sánchez? I don't think so. I'm going to give you a stat that is very interesting. No Spanish midfielder has scored more goals in the top 5 European leagues than Ollán Sánchez since the 22-23 campaign. This is over 2 years already. He has scored 19 goals, more than Dani Olmo, and if we extrapolate it to other nationalities, more league goals than Fede Valverde. So, he's a footballer that he can decide games as well.
Well, these clubs have a really good relationship. Íñigo Pérez on the bench in Rayo Vallecano, former Athletic, also Iraola before, so there is a good connection between these two teams. Draw no bet for Rayo, Theo is saying, and on the other hand, Bam is going for Athletic, double chance. So there are two different options, and Cullen is thinking that this should be a close game, and I completely agree. That's why the draw could be a good option for this one. Later on, we have Real Sociedad Betis. The defeat at the derby left some wounds in Real Sociedad with Imanol and Oyarzabal throwing knives to each other after a difficult season. So far, mid-table, already 6 defeats this season. They have a problem with the goal. Only 11 goals scored. They are playing in Europe, as we know, also on Thursday. And Betis, they were doing good, I would say, this season. They were recovered, but it's so inconsistent, this Betis, because against Valencia, they were very poor. And also against Celta, they were this close to lose. Álvaro.
Yeah, and they got 1 point out of the last 9. And if you check the results, you are just left out with total indifference. I mean, they got a goal differential of 0, a goal difference of 0. So what's there? Are they good defensively? No. Are they good attacking? Neither. 5 wins, 5 draws, 4 defeats. The 5th defeat could come this weekend, and then their numbers will be even, 5 defeats, 5 draws, 5 wins. I'm not too convinced with Betis, but I'm not too convinced with Real Sociedad either. The only difference is that Real Sociedad have been capable of beating Barcelona, and they were competitive against Real Madrid and Atletico. So at times, Real Sociedad have shown what they could be, but they don't show it often enough. That's the problem. And we have spoken in the Europa League video about Real Sociedad issues, problems, travails, and tribulations. So I'm not going to expand into that too much. I'm going to say only that when a manager hits out at players like this, sometimes there is no coming back from there. Real Sociedad got 7 points at home, which is nothing. Only 1 point better at home than Valladolid. And when it comes to Betis, maybe the best thing is that 𝐿𝐭𝐴 is back in training, but he's expected to return for the game against Rayo Vallecano, which is later in December. For this game, it's so difficult for me that it could be either a pass or otherwise you just check the odds and you realize that the money is back in Betis somehow. So a double chance for Betis 2.0 is something that I encourage people to consider. But as I said, this game for me is a little bit of a pass because both sides are in such an inconsistent state that they cannot back anybody.
Indeed, Colin is also highlighting the good odds to back Betis here, and Marco going for a draw in this game. Also, perhaps Betis to score could be another option, as Colin is saying. Yeah. Everything could happen in this game indeed. And for Monday, we have another game is Sevilla Osasuna. You were correct in your ACCA last week, Alvaro, because you backed again Sevilla playing at home and they won. It was a suffer win against Rayo Vallecano with so scoring, but win very tense. Every game is so difficult for Sevilla to win every single game in La Liga, and Osasuna, very, very dangerous team, but it's true that they are much more dangerous when they play in Pamplona than away. Only 1 win away this season in San Sebastián against Real Sociedad.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I was checking the numbers now. I mean, Sevilla at home, they haven't been perfect, but they at least their home performances put them in the top half of the table, 9th, with 12 points out of 21. It's not a lot, but they started the season so badly that I think that there is an improvement in there. And then Osasuna, away from home, they are 13th. And I think that their best fortitude is playing at 𝗀𝗟𝗏𝗏. So I'm going to back Sevilla here with a pinch of salt. Asian handicap minus 0.25, 188. If they draw, you suffer half a lose. If they win, you win your stake. 188 is about right. Osasuna has been better this season. They've got a footballer that Sevilla wish they had, like Brian Zaragoza, to the point that Sevilla is going to go in the market now in January to sign Rubén Vargas, another winger that we know from playing in the Euros. Osasuna's most dangerous player is 𝗵𝗲𝗍𝗀𝗧𝗏, obviously, so Sevilla will have to keep him at bay. But Osasuna has been sloppy away from home. Sevilla at home is improving, so I'm going to back them with an Asian handicap minus 0.25.
Both teams to score for Marco. And Colin is back in Osasuna somehow, also with Brian Zaragoza and 𝗵𝗲𝗍𝗀𝗧𝗏, as you said, as the main threats for Sevilla. Well, this is it for our La Liga video. There you can see our new tipster competitions called Rivals, where you can create your own leagues and your own tournaments with your friends. And it could be a public tournament or it can be a private league, so you can challenge your friends and even win cash prizes. This is the new feature from Oddspedia, and of course still you can participate in our tipster competitions with many prizes. Alvaro, let's give our audience some hints or clues for where to put their money in this weekend in La Liga. Your safe bet?
Let's give them a reason to dream. Asian handicap minus 1 for Real Madrid, 160.
Hendrik to score, for instance. And Naka?
Asian handicap minus 1.5 for Real Madrid. Villarreal Girona, over 2.5 goals. Altogether, 371.
All right, guys, thanks for your comments. Thanks, Alvaro, for your tips. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.